I'm Linda Convery and I'm the dietitian founder of a social enterprise called Speaking of Food CIC, and I'm based here in Rochdale Borough. We facilitate small groups of people coming together, maybe for food and nutrition education, but we really like it when they get hands-on with food, and we do a bit of food prep and cooking if we can. We also develop recipe kits, so we've got a series of recipes that were funded by Action Together last year, the Food Solutions Fund, and we put together kits. In fact, that was the first thing that was commissioned by Action Together for me to do, was come up with 3 recipes that were based on ambient foods from, as was then, the food warehouse. And these get distributed through organisations in the Food Solutions Forum. It was new everything. As I said, I left the NHS and set up this social enterprise, um, and hadn't a clue really. Having worked in the statutory sector and have everything done for you, just turn up, do your clinics, see your patients, whatever you're doing, and setting up a new business. First of all, I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know that much about the voluntary sector. So it was a steep learning curve, and it's continuing. Action Together and the staff have been instrumental in getting me to where I am at the moment. Julie Durant, name drop, was the first person that I spoke to at Action Together when I picked up the phone saying, I think I'm going to start a business. What should I do? And she said, well, if you start a straight business, we won't be able to help. But if you set up some sort of a social enterprise, we can help you with that. So decision made. I was setting up a social enterprise to try and tackle those social environmental issues around food and nutrition. And then beyond that, the Action Together organisation offered a course, an 8-week programme for people that were running a social enterprise called the Accelerator Programme. That was run by 2 ladies that go by the name of Mantle. And that was just fantastic for me because it was 2 years into having run the business, and it took me right back to the clarity about why and when and how I was going to deliver this business. Also built into that, there were some hours with a social enterprise business advisor, um, Adrian Ashton, another name drop. So he was also brilliant because the 2 ladies at Mantle also had their own social enterprises, and Adrian had years of experience in the voluntary sector helping people with their social enterprises. And everybody was so happy to pass on their experiences so that we didn't have to make the same mistakes that they did. Um, Action Together also has provided a facilitated funding over the years as well. So last year I got some food solutions funding right up my street, and we are still developing 10 recipes in 10 months. And those recipe kits are then distributed through the food solutions organisations to their own clients. I feel like the support that I've had from Action Together has just confirmed that social enterprise is the way I want to run my business. To get people hands-on in cooking classes, you might think, oh, not going out for a social occasion and doing some cooking, but they love it. They love cooking in a group, um, different people to chat to than maybe they would. Um, and the fact that they can take those skills and that knowledge home as well and replicate things at home means that there's another sort of recipe in the repertoire. It's a great sense of accomplishment, for something to turn out really tasty and the family enjoys it. So I'm finding that I'm really enjoying seeing the difference that it makes to people that we work with. So Speaking of Food has a website. I'll read this one out because I don't want to get wrong. So it's Speaking of Food CIC, all in one word, .co.uk. And we're also on Instagram on the same address, except you leave off the .co.uk bit. So you'll find me if you just look up Speaking of Food CIC. And email me on sofcic22, because I set up in 2022, @gmail.com.